Kevin McCarthy is now the Speaker of the House. The victory comes after days of contention and several rounds of backroom concessions. Correspondent Joe Khalil is live for us in Washington, who has been following this vote very closely. Joe, what comes next for the House?
Well, a lot, Kelsey, and I can tell you it was a battle for Kevin McCarthy. He finally was able to secure that Speaker's gavel last night, but in many ways, his battle really may just be starting. Look, as Speaker, he's going to have to decide what comes up to the floor for a vote at all, and he's also going to have to be the one to really unite his party around their big priorities. And from everything that we saw with this process last week, that may get really messy, and it may not be an easy thing for him to do.
We have to focus on the economy. We've got to focus, make our borders secure. We've got to do so much work to do.
Now that the drama of electing a Speaker of the House is behind us, and the name McCarthy officially hangs over the office, the question Americans are asking, what's next?
So they want a Republican Party, a Republican House that has its act together. We need to show them in the next few days that we have our act together.
Congress will soon be on to the business of legislating, but the prolonged fight around the Speaker's election raises questions. Is this Republican-led House capable of governing? A concern even some Republicans themselves, like Dusty Johnson, share.
When you've got a 5-seat margin, it's just not going to be easy.
It took 15 rounds of voting for the party to unite this time, and last-minute fireworks during which members literally had to be restrained on the House floor. Speaker Kevin McCarthy says this episode will only make his party more ready to govern.
And I think by having the disruption now, really built the trust with one another and learned how to work together.
Monday, the new House will have to vote on the rules that dictate how the chamber is run. In order to win over their votes, McCarthy agreed to the demands of a small group of Freedom Caucus conservative Republicans, including rules that weaken his speakership. Just one person can demand a vote to remove him as Speaker. Bills must be made public 72 hours before a vote. And he agreed to steer more hardliners to key committee posts.
The 118th time.
Even for important bills that have wide bipartisan support, McCarthy acknowledges getting all of his members to buy in will be a challenge.
We have to think about and work on the bills with a microcosm of the conference before we even start writing it. And that's really what we learned here.
So a big task ahead, Kelsey. I do want to mention something. We've been talking to our sources all week. Many of them tell us that there were some critical allies of Kevin McCarthy that really helped him get across the finish line. Congressman McHenry from North Carolina and Jim Jordan from Ohio, we are told, really moved a lot of those last members that needed to be convinced. And the Speaker himself, Kevin McCarthy, last night gave a shout out to Donald Trump, saying that he made a couple of phone calls at the final moments that did help steer people in McCarthy's direction. Kelsey.
Okay, Joe, good to know. Well, there's been a lot of talk about Congressman-elect George Santos. He's been caught on a number of lies, maybe facing some criminal investigations for allegedly causing some shady finances. He was sworn in this week with the rest of Congress. Can you tell us a little bit more, Joe?
Yeah, there were a lot of people wondering whether he would be sworn in at all, and he was last night, but that's not a guarantee that he will remain a member of Congress. There's a lot of questions around, his financial dealings, how he went from renting an apartment before his campaign to afterwards having a net worth of something like $11 million. So, if there are some criminal charges that actually come about, then, he may have to deal with that and could be removed. But for now, he is sworn in. He is officially a member of Congress from the state of New York. Kelsey.
And Joe, people still have a lot of questions. Great reporting as always. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.